I remembered the words and picked the locket. I saw a letter was placed there. I took the letter and opened it with my shaking hands. Jungkook, first of all, thank you so much for everything. I'm never going to regret that time I have spent with you, because I love you so much. And you never forced me, in fact. You told me at first I didn't want this relationship, but still, I clung to you like something, like a kind cheap boy. I always tried to make you mine, but now I realize that you were never mine. Now you will be mine ever. Sorry, I really gave you a hard time, but don't worry, you're free now. Now, I'm never going to bother you again. You can do whatever you want. No one is here to stop you. You were right, Jungkook. This is your house, and I was stupid to think that. This is my house. I'm leaving. From your life, for good. I'm leaving this locket, which was the main reason I have never moved on. You know, after I took it off, that locket, I felt like some kind of burden was left me off. And now, it's felt that this locket was nothing, but only a burden. Anyways, can you please do me a last favor? Please, never show your face again. Kim Taeyoung. I was reading his letter with my tears-filled eyes. I felt my heart was crashed with someone that stabbed my heart. I was feeling some kind of pain, physical pain. I rubbed my chest with my hands and tried to erase that pain, but the pain was dampened every passing second. That I feel that I can't breathe. Small things like breathe become hard for me. I tried to catch my breath, but I think the air was not coming to me. And finally, I felt my knees were lost their ability to stand up. And the next second, I was on the floor. And then I realized that it became my heartbeat. It became my breath, air. It became my body's strength. It became my whole world. And when this realization hit me, that he left me, and I felt my soul left me with him, and I screamed that escaped my mouth. Taeyoung, I screamed. Taeyoung, I screamed as much as I could. Taeyoung, please, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, love. I'm sorry, please come back. I can't live without you. Please come back. I cried out louder, clenching that locket and that letter to my heart. I called him many times, but it never came. My soul was broken and heart was hurting. I cried until my tear was no longer. Pain, hurt. I felt nothing. I felt I didn't have anything to feel. Not heart, nor soul, nothing. I was looking out of the window. The sky was dark and raindrops were falling on the earth. The cloud looked dark and that thunder were formed on the sky. Looks like they were just screaming. The raindrops that they were shedding tears. I wondered what happened to the sky, that the sky was screaming this much. I should scream, and I should cry, right? After all that, my life was shattered. I'm drained. That's why they were looked at. I was thought when I heard the song was started playing in the car. We arrived, child. I heard a voice came from my right side, and I looked up at the old man who stood there opening the car door with that concerned face. I hummed and come out of the car, saw a house in front of me. Raindrops were falling on me, making me drenched. I started walking toward the house, but stopped when I heard that old man were calling me again. Child, your luggage. The old man said, gave me that suitcase. Thank you, uncle, I said, and I again started walking, but stopped when I realized that I hadn't paid him. I turned and saw him walking toward the car. I walked toward him. Uncle, I called him, and he turned to look at me. Why didn't you tell me that I hadn't paid you? I said, giving him the rightful payment, which he takes gladly. Because, son, you look upset. You didn't utter a word in those 2 hours, January, and I saw my son in you, so I couldn't bring myself to ask about the payment, he said, and I just gave a small smile in return. May Almighty bless you, he said while patted his hand on my head, and sat inside the car and drove away. Almighty already blessed me, I muttered with a smile while putting my head on my stomach. Jimin, I will open the door, Jimin said and walked out of his room. Open the door. Who must be in that time? Jimin wondered, looking at the clock, which was showing 11 of the night. As he opened the door, he saw Taekook fully and with a suitcase. As Taekook's eyes were landed on Jimin, more like his brother, he felt all the emotion which they was holding and screaming to come out. Jimin, a painful voice would come from his mouth, and the next second he fell on the floor, cause he know from here Jimin will take care of him. Jimin ran to him and held him in his arm. What happened? You came here alone? Jimin asked. They never goes anywhere alone and come alone that through. And they shuddered him. Jimin, you were right. Taekook whispered, looking at Jimin in his eyes that filled with their tears. What happened? Jimin asked in fear, covering his face, cause he knew he wasn't going to like him. The answer. He broke me, they said, with their lips like a little child who complained to his parents that his brother broke his doll. Taekook, a whisper left Jimin's mouth, and tear welled up in Jimin's eyes as well, seeing his baby tail like this, and he knew they was talking about Jungkook. It broke me, they again said, and tears would start falling in his eyes. Jimin, it broke me, Jimin, it broke me. They started screaming like and crying loudly, and Jimin pulled him in his arm tightly. Tell me what happened. What did he do? Jimin asked for carrying his bag, while Taekook started sobbing in his chest loudly. Jimin pulled the bag and cupped his waist. Look at me. Tell me what he did. Tell me, what did he do? He asked, encouraging Tae while Taekook was continuously sobbing. He told everyone that. Taekook stopped and hugged Jimin tightly. Tell what, Taekook? You're scaring me. Tell me. Jimin asked and scared now that what must happen to Tae, that he was blaming Jungkook, which he never did before. You know, if Jungkook would kill Tae, he would never blame him. Then what happened now? That he blamed his own cook? That this baby is not his, they whispered, and Jimin pulled back. Which baby? He asked in confusion. Look at Tae. My baby. They said, crying like a little child. While Jimin's eyes were winded and he froze on his place in shock, he felt his breath for head, and he understood what had happened to Tae. Tae, his name escaped Jimin's mouth. You're right, Jimin. He took everything from me. His intention was not right. He rang me. They started yelling while twisting his hair with his both hands. Jimin again pulled in his arm and started crying with his Tae. But there were not only Jimin who felt their pain, but there was someone else who broke from inside Seung. Tae, his princess like Tae, who loved him all his life, who didn't want anything more than Seung's happiness, would do anything for his little smile. The person was Inwoo. He stood there seeing his princess' broken soul, and he felt his soul also broken seeing and hating all that. The day only they was broken, but with two more souls were broke, whom he was unaware and maybe never going to know about those person who love him more than anything. Jungkook shattered from inside, realizing what he did to his Tae, everything he did to him from the beginning, repay his mind and regret pain, and more importantly, his love for him would start eating him alive. No one knows, and no one wanted to know about Jimin and his pain, and that only boy who couldn't see a single uneasy feeling in his now. Now, he's the only one who make his life like living hell, always from him.